Gonna get ready to get started. Good afternoon. Welcome to the January meeting of the OPPD Board of Directors. My name is Tim Gay. I represent District 3. I'm this year the chairman of the board until about an hour from now when we're going to elect new board members. But I'm the chairman this year. I'd like to introduce our other board members. Director Mark Schreinen, if you guys could just give a wave when I introduce your name. Mark Schreinen represents Subdivision 1. Director Ann McGuire is your representative Subdivision 2. Director Rick Yoder is in Subdivision 4. Craig Moody represents us in Subdivision 5. The vice chair this year, Tom Barrett, to my right, represents Subdivision 6. Mick Mines represents Subdivision 7, and our secretary this year has been Mike Kavanaugh in Subdivision 8. CEO and president to my left is Tim Burke, and over on the far right, Kim Tracy is our board secretary. She's kind of the one that's going to run our meetings today. These meetings are being web broadcast, and also if you have a phone, could you please silence your phone for everybody? But they are being broadcast, so anything that you can view this at any time. We'll have public comment. If you have any public comment and want to come to the board and talk on anything, that's come right up here. We have a 3-minute rule where just so everybody can be heard and we can move the meetings along. It's Kim will be the timekeeper. It's green, yellow, red. When it runs red, you're at your 3 minutes. We'll give you a 1-minute warning. But if you're in mid-sentence, we'll let you finish up. But hey, that's been on times when we have big, busy meetings. That's helpful and kind of keeps the order. On all of that, I'd want to go. I think that's all I've got. Oh, if you are going to ask any questions of the board, just direct them to me, and I can get them to the right person of subject matter. We have our senior managers here and experts that can help answer any questions if those ever come up. With that, then, Tim, you want to do a safety briefing for us?
Great, thank you very much. Yes, you're in the auditorium on the atrium level at Energy Plaza here at OPPD. In the event that we need to exit, we would exit in the manner in which you came in. There's 2 exits behind, in front of us here, behind you. There's also 2 exits on the side that actually lead either to the steps or to the elevator. The fire extinguishers for us would be just outside this door to my left and just right around the corner. There's a fire extinguisher there, just outside the rear auditorium doors. If you have a medical condition, please write it down or tell your neighbor if you would. The AED and the first aid kits are through the atrium level and right before you go into the cafeteria. They're on the right-hand side on the brick wall, one on top of each other, first aid kit and the AED. And is there anybody here certified in the use of an AED or in CPR? So we have several in the audience here. So we appreciate that. Folks that can assist in the event that we need it. In case of a fire, we would not use the elevators. We would use the steps to exit the building, and we would exit this building down these steps out on the 16th Street side. We would ask you to use your 3-point touch. That would be 1 hand on the railing and 2 feet as you migrate down the steps, just to make sure nobody trips and falls. And in case of emergency, I'll have Kim or Rod call 911 in the event that we need to do that. And we don't anticipate any tornado, although we're having some interesting weather today. But in the event of a tornado, we would actually go to the west side of the building down in the garage area, which is a secured area. And so with that, that's our safety briefing today. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tim. With that, we're going to go to the announcement about the public notice of this meeting. Kim?
Sure. Agenda item number 3, notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing in the Omaha World Herald and outlets, by displaying such notice on the arcade level of Energy Plaza since January 2nd, 2018, and by mailing such notice to each of the district's directors on that same date. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the open meetings law is available for inspection in the public meeting book located in this meeting room.
All right, thanks, Kim. Tim, you got some awards, scholarship?
You know, we do. Each year, the Swigert Invitational Golf Tournament is held. It's coordinated by OPPD to raise funds for the OPPD J.M. Harding Scholarship Awards. J.M. Harding was a longtime member of OPPD, and his focus was really around energy conservation. The University of Nebraska at Omaha, Bellevue University, and Creighton University select scholarship recipients from their pool of student candidates based on criteria established in the agreements that we make with them. Each recipient receives a $2,000 scholarship to support them during the academic school year. And I'm pleased to present to you the 2017-18 J.M. Harding Scholarship recipients. And what I will do, there's two recipients that we will provide them their certificates here today and take pictures. I'll read through all the recipients, and then one at a time we'll take a little picture and give you your certificate. And my guess is the check is going to the school. We're not giving you a check today, so. So I know. So the first recipient today is Jennifer Briggs. She's from Bloomington, Illinois. Jennifer attends the University of Nebraska at Omaha at the Peter Keywood Institute and is pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Architectural Engineering. She has a 3.93 GPA. Jennifer will graduate in May of 2019 and continue her education to receive a Master's of Architectural Engineering. She's the co-founder of the Metal Cow Robotics Club. So there's a story there somewhere that maybe Andrew behind you will get before you leave. And there are no other folks, at least today, from the University of Nebraska that are attending with Jennifer today. The next recipient is Richard Vanek Jr. He's from Fremont, Nebraska. Richard attends Bellevue University and is pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree in cybersecurity. Richard will graduate in March 2018 with a 3.7 GPA. He served the United States Navy for 20 years, where he was an electronics technician. Also, he trained and managed 6 technicians and maintained preventative maintenance procedures for components, equipment, and systems. And Dorothy Morrow, Vice President of Advancement, is also here with Mr. Vanek today from Bellevue University. Interesting thing about Richard Vanek is that he is the nephew of a longtime OPPD employee, Dennis Vanek. So was in our substation group for many, many years. The other recipient from Creighton University is not here today. Her name is Kayla Schmidt. She sends her regrets, but she could not be here today. She's attending an international trade show in Orlando, Florida. Funny how that works. It's part of her internship, so she had to be there. She sent a note saying, "I want to thank you so much for the scholarship. It is really going to make my last semester at Creighton more stable, as well as I am grateful for the aid it has provided in previous years." Kayla is pursuing dual degrees in business intelligence and analytics and economics, and she graduates in May of 2018. And accepting the certificate on her behalf today is Andy Kammerer, the Senior Director of Corporate and Foundation Relations at Creighton University. So the chair of the board, Mr. Gay, and I will come around. And Jennifer, if we could have you up first. How's that sound?
Very deserving group, that's for sure.
Robotic cows,
Congratulations.
that's really interesting.
It's Andrew.
Andrew's coming.
Hiding in the crowd here.
We have to get out of the way. Oh, here, we should probably, that's where they're.
Stack natural.
Andrew, am I far enough away?
Oh, you didn't want to be in there? One without.
Mike is photobombing.
Very good. Congratulations.
And then Richard Vanek. And I'm just going to give this, you got this, no picture. So, thank you for your service.
All right, thank you. I thought for sure you'd photobomb that.
I don't do
We could have all photobombed it, yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations all. And then we're gonna have we have a board consent action items. We cover a lot of things in our Tuesday meetings, and then these are issues that we've discussed and covered. These can be, if any board member would like to pull any of these issues, they can right now. Item 5, 6, 7, or 8. Would anybody like to pull a consent? I don't see so. Kim, you want to go through the consent?
Sure. Number 5 is approval of the November 2017 Comprehensive Financial and Operating Report, the December 14th, 2017 Board Meeting Minutes, and the January 11th, 2018 Agenda. Number 6, 2018 SD6 Safety Monitoring Report and Policy Revisions, Resolution Number 6224. Number 7, Nebraska City Unit 1 Finishing Superheater Tube Materials, Resolution Number 6225. And number 8, Orion Interlocal Agreement, Resolution Number 6226. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions to these items, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second?
Barrett?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, public comment. Sorry.
Is there any public comment on these, any one of these consent agendas? No, go ahead.
Okay. Barrett?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Gay?
Yes.
McGuire?
Yes.
Mines?
Yes.
Moody?
Yes.
Trinan?
Yes.
Yoder?
Yes.
Motion carried. On to agenda item number 9, which I will allow Chair Tim Gay to read, resolution number 6227, Rich Hurley Appreciation Resolution.
Okay, I will do that, and thank you. I know Director Hurley's family is here. Thank you for joining us, especially on a cold day like today. But anyway, had a pleasure of serving with Rich, as many of us had, and fine man. So we would like to honor him, and we have a resolution today that I'm going to read, and then we have a nice plaque we'd like to give to you, Hurley. So resolution number 6227 is, whereas Richard Lee Hurley was a member in good standing of the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District from 2015 until his passing in September, and whereas Mr. Hurley graduated from Omaha North High School, served a short tour in the Marine Corps, and was graduated from a Cook Junior College and Worcham's College, after which he became an accomplished entrepreneur. And whereas concurrent with Mr. Hurley's tenure on the board, he was an associate broker at Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate in Omaha. Whereas Mr. Hurley was also a dedicated family man, married to his wife Mary for 52 years, with 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren. And whereas Mr. Hurley's leadership and perseverance were essential during a critical time of transformation at the Omaha Public Power District. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District as follows: that at a meeting duly convened on this 11th day of January 2018, board members and management desire to publicly and proudly acknowledge the important contributions and honorable service of Richard Lee Hurley. That the board wishes to express their appreciation for the high quality of leadership, judgment, and business experience that he brought to the district throughout his service. And that a certified copy of this resolution, suitably prepared and inscribed, be presented to his family to serve as an enduring reminder of his loyalty and legacy. So with that, we do have that, and I think what we'd like to do is present that, Tim and I, and we'll get a photo, Ms. Hurley, with you and whoever you want right out here. And then what I'd like to do, I know some board members would like to make some comments about their time with Rich too, that I think we'd like to say. So would you join us out here? No, no problem. You got it.
It's well deserved. Yeah, the whole family.
Yeah, you betcha.
I think so.
Tom, you can be in there too if you want. You're that You're the uncle.
Okay, we have to move in.
Oh, yeah, for Florida.
I'll hang on to Wes. I thought I'll give it right back to you. I promise.
We'll let Jody, and then she'll come back.
I got one week or two that he's refunding. You've had more. I can't remember. We didn't serve. John Thompson. Marine Corps. Yeah. We'll get a van, go through our district, with February what? 20th.
All right, with that, and I would Actually, I would like to say, just, got to serve with Rich and get to know him and his fine man. I was so impressed with his dedication and working all the way, up to what he could. It's amazing, but he's a very good businessman. I think when I read The Entrepreneur and Family Man, that hit it, because he always talked about family, grandkids, and different things. So it's a pleasure serving with him the time I had to serve with him, and we'll miss him and his leadership. And he took an active leadership role right away. He's already treasurer in his first or second year, I think. So, but anyway, a great contribution, just so you all know. Really good contribution, and he really added a lot when he was here, in my mind. So I'll just start down here as you guys, whoever would like to end.
I'd like to start from the beginning, when I first sort of quote unquote met Rick. It's when he started campaigning. And he could have been a politician, because he really knew how to relate to people. He really represented District 1. That election was the first time we had divided things up into districts. And he very proudly said that he attempted to knock on every single door in his district. Wow. And he walked that whole district.
Big district.
And his district, I walked my district, but his district is a lot bigger than mine.
More steps.
And a lot more steps than my district. And because of that, I think he really understood what the people that he represented, what they wanted, and he frequently brought up what he felt his constituents wanted. On the other thing, he was always very thoughtful in making decisions. And I think you mentioned engagement. He was fully engaged at all times, and at the same time, a great storyteller, and was sort of able to sort of make a point by telling a story. And I really appreciated that, and I really do miss him. He's a great man. Yeah.
I also met Rich during his campaign and spoke with him several times during the process and got to know him pretty well, and certainly appreciated, he's a man of principle, and he was not afraid to be on the short end of a vote if necessary. Yes. He certainly wasn't swayed by mob rule or anything like that at all. No. I enjoyed working with him very much. He's been missed. I'm friends with a couple of his former colleagues over at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador, and believe me, they feel the same way over there. He told me that they certainly miss him and enjoyed working with him, and he's a great guy. Thanks for coming down.
I met Rich on the board, and he was always, like what they said about caring about the customers. He had a great love of public service, and it came at a long time, and he always cared about who was spending the money, what was getting done with the money, and it's not our money. And he always emphasized that in almost every meeting, which always grounded people who were like saying, we can do this, or we can't do that. Rich was always there. He always talked about the customer. Just extremely down to earth. If he was in parts of Omaha where he was fixing up his rental homes, or if he was at Champions, he just had a lot of energy, and he loved his grandkids. He loved Champions and playing golf and being there. And we both had a love for dogs and hunting. So once we hit it off, every fall we would start to talk, and it'd go for a long time. So he was a wonderful man.
Well, as you know, Rich had an opinion on everything. And as you know, he was very committed. And piling on what Tom just said is, you always knew where Rich stood.
Yeah, which is really
And that's unusual in any kind of a political setting, but you always knew where Rich was. He was always about watching out for how much are we spending, where's it going. He was a fiscal conservative to the end. We just enjoyed working with him, and he was tenacious right up to the end. You know that. He kept coming to the board meetings, and he was a good, solid young man. Thank you for letting him serve.
All right. Yeah, anybody else?
Sure, I'm happy to have had his leadership. He was the leader of two of the committees that I was on. So on my first year, and I was impressed by that example, and also impressed by the fact he was very willing to stand up for what he believed in and to go against, well, not against, but to stand up for what he believed in spite of what everybody else was saying.
Exactly.
It was an honor to serve with him.
I didn't know Rich on this board because I took his seat, but I've known Rich and Mary for many years as a neighbor. I've lived there for 20 years, and I think you for about that long. And fine people. And it's apparent from all of everyone's comments, I have very large shoes to fill, and I'll do my best to do that.
Mark, it's kind of interesting. I think Rich would appreciate it because you have that financial background too.
Yeah.
So he's asking questions that probably Rich would have asked.
We're very aligned, conservatively and politically.
Take comfort in that. But anyway,
Well represented.
you do a lot of those. Tim, would you like to finish up?
I have one other voice.
Oh, sorry, Craig. I thought you.
Ann jumped in front of me.
I'm sorry. I want to talk.
Two quick things. I didn't get to know Rich as well as some of the other board members because our time didn't overlap as much as I would have liked. So I want to compliment you on the service that I attended. I felt like in the hour that I was there and hearing the stories about him, I really got to know him well. So I learned a lot about him, and I wish I would have had more of an opportunity to get to know him better. I will tell you that I was impressed with him from day one. He was the first person after I was elected to reach out and to invite me to lunch and to just kind of talk me through not only what it's like to be a board member, but to give me a lot of really good advice, which is something that I really, really valued. And it demonstrated his commitment to the organization. So he was a great man. He was a great man.
Yeah. And I know Craig, you probably, some of the meetings, you watched him in action a lot.
Oh, yeah.
When you're new now, but when you're running, I know you attended some of those meetings.
Sure.
And saw his fiscal conservatism in action.
Yep.
So, yeah, okay. Tim will.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Mary and the family. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. The first time I got to really have the opportunity to meet Rich, we try to meet all the candidates as they're running, just to kind of lay out here's kind of the expectation, the meetings, the times, and kind of what we do and how we do that, how we operate as a board. And but once Rich knew that he and Gary own the same plane, we didn't talk a lot
yeah,
about
it was
business at
karma.
all, and it's kind of like I just ate my lunch, and normally I would be the one doing the talking. So, but they went in and talked about their plane stuff. But I saw him a little differently maybe than the board did, because he was a great challenger. And would challenge me as a leader here. But his focus was on cost and rates, and certainly about employees and customer service and reliability. And I got to be a good friend of his and a good friend of yours too, Mary. And he voted twice against my salary, by the way. So and I still am a friend of
Fiscal
his.
conservative.
Yeah, he always told stories about you kids. And so even though I really didn't meet you until the service day or to the wake the night before, I seemed like I knew you. And he said, I would always talk to my daughter from 3M, right? So that was a daughter, yeah. So you and I should talk. But anyway, so... and certainly he even talked about the in-laws too, by the way. So I got some stories about you guys that you may not know he knows or knew, but most certainly about the grandkids and some of the great things that he had the opportunity to do and travel with the grandkids and what a fine guy. And Mary, we certainly knew that he loved you. So it was very clear. Very clear.
All of us.
well, that makes me feel better. Makes me feel better. So very good. Congratulations. Thank you. You bet.
Thank you.
And we have to vote on this, by the way.
We need a
We will
motion and
vote
a
to make it
second
official
first.
then. Okay.
Thank
Get a
you.
motion and a second, and we'll make it official.
Okay, Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines,
Yeah.
Moody,
Yes.
Trinan.
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
right. Go ahead.
Agenda, item number 10, resolution number 6228. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District that the compensation adjustment for corporate officer Kate Brown of the district as set forth on Exhibit A attached hereto be and hereby are approved.
As the,
I can't
So
make a
moved.
motion.
Motion. So moved.
so moved.
A second, go ahead,
Second.
Mines.
I know it's always uncomfortable, Kate, sitting in front of somebody when the world is hearing what's going on. Kate has been absolutely outstanding. And I'll let Tim go into some of the things that you've accomplished, but you've been here a short time, and you've been just tremendous for the organization, for us on the board. The current salary rate is $298,700 a year. We're offering to the board an increase of 5%. That would increase to $313,635. And that puts Kate at 8.6% of midpoint, so she's not even at midpoint yet. So I would offer that recommendation to the board and entertain any questions.
All right. Is there any comment or questions from the board?
Wait, is Tim gonna give a
Timmy, you wanna say?
description?
I think obviously we had a long discussion with the board about the work that Kate's been doing and the way she's being able to create a team, a great leadership team on our business technology and building service side, doing some great work, and which is obviously expected, but just doing an exceptional job. And so obviously I firmly believe the recommendation is appropriate.
All right. Any other comments? Or?
I just want to say I'm impressed with Kate every time I meet her. One of the toughest things is her position gets, I think, harder and harder as technology and artificial intelligence increases and our reliance on computers. So I think her job gets tougher and she gets better, and she started or she created her own team. So I feel that this division is in good hands with Kate, and she deserves the compensation we're offering her here today.
It's important to note, thank you, that she started this whole division. There wasn't anybody, a big division that really concentrated in this area, which is so important now as far as our cybersecurity and all the technology and the many changes and everything. And that was really one of our areas that we really needed to strengthen. And thanks to Kate, we have done that. And I can sleep a lot better with Kate in the helm doing this. Yeah.
Right. Well, we certainly appreciate, Kate, you haven't coasted, that's for sure. You stepped right in and you've got going. It was exactly what we wanted and what Tim needed with this creation of your position. And you're doing everything that we've asked for and hoped for, and we appreciate it very much. Appreciate your service.
Just for overall, what we're doing here, Kate, all those things I say, of course, I agree. But also what we're doing, Tim, what you're doing with the senior management team in general. We've had over the last few years several people retiring and changes going on, so we're doing, seems like a lot more of this lately. Well, that's why we have retirements going on, and those positions are being shuffled around and filled. And the Director McGuire says it's a newer position, but it's cybersecurity and a lot of different things that I wouldn't say we're lacking in that. I wouldn't say that, but
No,
we're
it just keeps on changing.
readjusting leadership. So we're doing more with less, and I think the leaders that we're getting in there, Kate included, and all the others, are doing a good job. And these are public salaries that we look at and take very seriously, and have questions and do things. So I just want to put that out there on our concept of kind of what you're trying to accomplish, Tim. I think
Appreciate that.
So we don't do this just we a lot of thought goes into it, put it that way. So keep it up. With that, is this do we have to take public comment?
Yes.
Is there any public comment? Any other board members? Nope. Any public comment on this? Off the hook. All right, please vote.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Trinan.
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. President, I'm going to ask that the Governance Committee hasn't completed the review of Vice President Dogman. Ask that we push that till next month.
So remove that from the,
Remove it from the agenda and move it
Table
to
that.
next month, if that's all right.
do we need a motion to table that?
Motion and a
I
second.
have that motion.
Second.
And a second.
A
Is there any
motion,
discussion on a table motion?
no.
No,
Please vote.
none of those.
Motion to table, Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Trinan.
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Motion to table resolution number 6229 has carried.
All right, with that, Tim, we're at the President's Report, item number 12.
This is kind of a 2-month report. Since I had to bail out last week, I appreciate that, or last month, to see my son graduate, or get his footing at Creighton University, got his MBA there. So had to make sure I had the opportunity to do that. And so we'll talk a little bit about the generation side of the business. And obviously Nebraska City 1, Nebraska City 2 had a little bit lower capacity factors than normal, and that's primarily due to a couple of reasons. We had a forced outage at Nebraska City 1 for about the first 7 days of December. It came back online on December 7th and really continued through the remaining of the month. We did have some soft conditions, soft market conditions, soft market pricings. So typically what we would do is vary the load at these facilities based on those soft market conditions at the time. Nebraska City 2 remained in service for the entire month and continued that. Also, they've remained online for the last 114 straight days, and but did have some variation in the load based on soft market conditions. Renewable energy contributed to about 35% of OPPD's retail energy sales in the month of December, with a wind capacity of about 52%, so pretty significant. Renewable energy for the year-to-date anyway contribute approximately 30% to OPPD's retail sales, which is what our original estimate was for 2018. And the wind capacity factor for the year was 44%, which is pretty significant on an annual basis. So we're doing some good things on the generation side. We had some interesting things over the market. It's not necessarily on the slides, but we had days where wind was strong in the market, and we had days where wind was not strong in the market, and created really interesting market conditions where prices in the market were anywhere between $100 and $200 a megawatt because wind wasn't in the market. So the wind resources is pretty important for us, and as well. And then when wind comes into the market in SPP, those prices kind of settle down a little bit. So we're seeing those changes that go on. Go to the next slide here. I want to do a safety recognition. Mo Dogman and one of his direct reports, Tim Nissen, and Mike Godfrey and the team are responsible for our substation and system protection group. And they do some just exceptional work. And the board received a briefing this past week on our safety over the course of 2017. It was our monitoring report, which you'll which we talked to the board about, and some of the changes that we are going through. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about this group who had some pretty significant safety improvements. They've gone 1,537 days without any days away, restricted or transferred injuries. Pretty significant. And 1,075 days from the last time they had a preventable vehicle accident. So they're doing some pretty significant things in that department. And they'll actually have a little celebration next week that the senior team's been invited to, and we'll thank the men and women in that group for that work. Some of our focus areas in 2018 are continue our DART improvement plans. Each senior manager has a DART improvement plan. We'll implement some benchmark findings that we've gone to the best in class to do some of that benchmarking. And it's interesting, we went to the best in class under related to industrial injuries, and they're having difficulty on preventable vehicle accidents, which we're doing incredibly well. And so we're going to be helping them in some of the work that we've done there, and we're going to be getting some of their knowledge and input on what they've done to reduce incidents in their organization as well. We'll continue our management observations. So even the senior team in 2017 did 87 safety observations out in the field or in the plants about how our folks are performing, how we're communicating, do we have the right tools to do that work. We'll continue our good catches and our near misses and the reporting of those. We're implementing a contractor safety program. So how do we interface with contractors? When we have contractors on our site, how are we going to handle the safety related activities with those contractors? And then we'll continue to do our quarterly safety review with each of our senior managers. Kevin McCormick, who's our Director of Safety and Technical Training, will essentially meet with each of our senior managers to review our safety incidents in those critical areas. And then we actually report them on our monthly and quarterly performance reviews as well. I want to talk a little bit about some of the community things that we've done. We've had some employees that have just done some exceptional work, and so out of that, we've done a Partnership for Kids coat drive. These are 15 schools within OPS that our employees are either mentors, go buddies, or reading buddies. And we have about 80 employees that are actively involved in those programs. But they are able to raise and get donated from OPPD employees 126 coats, 75 pairs of gloves, 50 hats, and a number of other things, including monetary contributions to help in the coat drive. And it's just the way that we're kind of living our core values of passion to serve, honoring our community, and caring for each other. And our employees just do an exceptional job. In the community, we're also doing some other things around energy efficiency. This probably had really more of an appropriate president report last month, since I think most of our Christmas trees are probably down. But OPPD was a sponsor of the conversion of the Christmas at Union Station at the Durham Museum from standard incandescent Christmas lights to LED lights. And there are more than 2,200 feet of lights that make that tree grow, and it was really because of the OPPD sponsorship that allowed them to make that conversion. And actually during those weekend evenings and weekends, we had people there talking about energy conservation and the manner in which we go about that. It was just a great opportunity for us to be involved. And then in another community activity closer to Christmas as well, we have actively been involved for many, many years in Toys for Tots. And so the OPPD's Veterans Employee Resource Group coordinated the drive this year, and they collected at 10 different OPPD locations 25 boxes. And these are not small boxes. These are big boxes, 3.5 feet tall and 3.5 feet wide. And a lot of that was pretty significant. So we filled 25 boxes across the whole OPPD service territory. I know our Papillion Center, I think they raised about $1,200, in which they went to a local store and got them to match for us to buy gifts and items for the Toys for Tots. And it was a great creative way for them to do that. Very proud of that group and the work that they're doing, and proud of our employees on their ongoing commitment to the community. And the next is a short video that we had on our wire, but I think it talks about our ongoing partnership with critical customers in the Omaha area. And so we're going to flip to the next slide, and Kim tells me it's going to go right into the video. So this is about one of our customers, Recipients Bakery.
Well, the family bakery started in 1921 with my great-grandfather. We're blessed to have 9 family members and all get along great and working in this wonderful family business. Well, I tell you what makes a good loaf of bread, is teamwork. And we have every department in our bakery works together. I mean, from all the way from the production, going through the oven, all the way to packaging and then out the door. We've got a lot of customer demand all over the country. We're moving into different territories, even going outside the United States. But we wanted to be able to diversify our product line and make our lines more efficient. So we were excited to be able to grow to the south of our south plant, adding capacity to produce another 50 to 55,000 buns per hour in that line to make us more efficient for our customers and again, diversify our portfolio with all of our different products. You sit back and look at all the motors and our process and running 24 hours a day. We want to make sure that when we plan to design for the future, that we are as efficient as possible, saving energy, being more green. These are things that we want to work on for the future, but it takes more capacity so we can shut some certain lines down so we can do those things and do those processes that we want to do. So OPPD has been a good partner, and looking at what our needs are going to be now and what our needs are going to be 4 to 5 years from now. They know our business, we know their business. We have one point of contact, one company that we can grow with. We've worked side by side over the years. We have a lot of history together. What lies in the future, I'm confident that Public Power and OPPD can give us what we need for our future.
Very nice. Yeah, very good. Thanks, Kim. Appreciate that. Just one other item on our community of giving. So the month of December was our month of giving, and so OPPD has been a long-time supporter of the United Way of the Midlands, and United Way really across eastern Nebraska and some of our rural parts of the area. And in 2017 campaign, our employees donated over $226,000 to the United Way. And they also donated specifically about $6,500 to the Energy Assistance Program as well. They really had the opportunity to participate in the United Way or the Energy Assistance Program, or give back and volunteer time, and they did all of those kinds of items. I will also say the proceeds that I talked about for the scholarship winners, all the proceeds of this year's golf outing went to the Energy Assistance Program. So I think there was like $29,000 or some number like that went to the Energy Assistance Program. Because we have a fund that's doing really well in this market, we didn't have to add anything more to the scholarship fund. We were able to use that for our Energy Assistance Program. So we're really pleased to do that. Again, our employees are great supporters of the community. We've talked over the last several months, I believe in December, we talked about the NEST program. I just want to let you know that as of earlier this week, we had 1,071 customers enrolled in the Net Rush Hours Rewards Thermostat program. Don't want to say that too many times, but that's just really an indication about this is a really good program. I think we've done a great job on our research, and customers are really excited about it, and I think we're going to see that continue to go. I happened to go out to dinner the other night, and two people that knew I worked for OPPD came over and asked me about it, so I gave them the call center to call, Julie, so my guess is they made that call on Wednesday. So it's great to see our customers get actively involved in that program, and upon enrolling, customers will receive a one-time $100 credit on their bill, and they'll get an annual $20 credit by participating in the thermostat program. And lastly, since I'm covering a couple months here, one of the things around safety that we traditionally have done at OPPD is that we talked about men or women that have died in the line of duty. And so today I'm going to talk about Jimmy Dobbs and Paul Nieman. Jimmy Dobbs died on May 4, 1988, resulting from an electrocution that occurred while he was relocating a power line for a highway project southwest of Ashland along Highway 6th. Jimmy was 40 years old, had been with OPPD for 14 years at the time of his death. A quote from his field supervisor at the time: "He was the kind of person who picked people up when they were a little down," said his supervisor, Jack Finney. "I know I speak for all the people here when I say that he was everyone's friend on and off the job." He was survived by his wife, Dale Ann, daughters Anne Marie, Carolyn, his mother, 2 brothers, and 3 sisters. And Jimmy Dobbs' family, each year we have a day of remembrance. Typically it's in December, where we honor the men and women that have died in the line of duty, and Jimmy Dobbs' family has consistently come to attend that and express their appreciation for the manner in which we remember the men and women that died in the line of service of duty. The next individual is Paul Nieman. He was a cable splicer. He died on June 19th, 1989 from injuries sustained during a ground fall accident in downtown Omaha. There was a couple other cable splicers with them that were also injured in that accident. Paul was 46 years old, had been with OPPD for 19 years. He was survived by his wife, Joyce, and his daughter, Charity. And so it's a great opportunity for us to remember those folks that gave their lives for the service and the product that we give every day. And so that concludes the President's report.
Okay, thanks for that update, Tim. A lot going on as usual. We come to the point. Item 13 is election of board officers for, would be this year then. So what I'm gonna do, it's my pleasure to, I'm gonna seek out nominations for chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. So at this point, then we will vote on them. If there are 2 nominations, we can do a secret vote if we would like to. But I guess at this point, are there any nominations right now for the chairman of the board? Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate Michael Kavanaugh.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion is second for Director Kavanaugh. Any others? Don't see any. This might be easy. So those are now closed. Let's just have a roll call vote then, Kim.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Trinan,
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Congratulations, Director Kavanaugh.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your vote and your support. And I also want to give a special shout out to outgoing Chairman Tim Gay for the great leadership he's shown us
Thank you.
in the organization this past year. Thanks, Tim.
I appreciate it, and looking forward to working with you again this year. So also we have nominations that open right now or open for vice chair of the board.
I'll nominate Ann McGuire.
Okay, Director McGuire.
Second.
Is there we got a motion and a second? Director Trinan, second. Any other nominations for vice chair? Don't see any. All right, with that, I'll close the nominations for vice chair and we'll have a roll call vote, Kim.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Trinan,
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Congratulations, Director McGuire.
As they stand. Treasurer, nominations are open for the treasurer, and I would like to actually nominate Director Mines for treasurer.
Second.
Else would like to nominate? All right, nominations are closed for treasurer, and we'll vote on that.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Trinan.
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Congratulations, Director Mines.
Thank you all.
Excuse me. And for secretary, are there any nominations for secretary?
I'd like to nominate Craig Moody.
Second.
Any others for secretary? Nope. All right, nominations are closed now for the secretary. Kim, roll call?
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Trinan.
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Congratulations, Director Moody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
That was painless. Thank you all for stepping up to serve and looking forward to a good year. With that, we're getting to I would like to say before we get to, we have an opportunity for comment from the public here, but before we get to that, I would like to say thank you for allowing me to be chair in the last year. It's been an interesting year, and as you know, new board members, new energy, the passing of Director Hurley. There's just a lot of things going on, but we, got right through it and did our good work, and I think things went real well. We have a very transparent board, and I think the board gets along really well, as we just saw. We're working together really well. Mark, also bringing you on board, a great addition with the loss of Rich, but great addition there. So I really appreciated all your work, and Tim and you and your staff, great to work with, and Kim especially. Kim and Christy always, as all of you know that have been chair before me, they do a lot of great work for us. So thank you so much for that. So, but anyway, it's been my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to relaxing and asking a lot of questions when you're no, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I really mean it. Thanks for the honor to do that. And I know Director Yoder, you had said, would you like to say something too?
I would. It's been a year, right? So I thought I'd reflect a little bit on a year, but it's nothing great or fantastic, other than it's been a real joy to work with everybody. I appreciate it. I wanted to start off and thank Chairman Gay. I thought you did a great job. As a new person, you don't know what the process is, and right away we saw the process change. And I thought that was, we found our way to what I think is the optimum process. And I really appreciate your leadership on that, and the willingness of the board to try new things and to end up in a better position. So I thought that was great. I've enjoyed the high quality of everybody who works here. It's just a real fantastic team that's here. And I know I ask a lot of questions. I hear I ask a lot of questions. You really ask a lot of questions. But it's, and I think that was rough for some people. It's just the way I am mostly. But it's, I think everybody, myself included, has come to understand that an organization that is willing to hear those questions and is willing to respond is strong and is definitely heading, if not already there, for best in class. And I'm looking forward to a good 2018.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Director.
Hey, Tim, a little housekeeping, so don't forget. If any director has any requests for either committee chairmanships or committee memberships, please get your interest into him in the next week or so, if you could, so that we could have plenty of time to take those into consideration, get it put together. I'll work with the governance committee and try making the committee assignments and so forth.
Yeah, very good point. And yeah, so just the process will be the new chair, Director Kavanaugh, will appoint those committees and chairman. That's the way it works. And then everyone kind of finds their niche on those committees. That's worked out very well, I think, so far. Director Yoder, we do jest on some, but questions are very important, so it's all in good.
Yeah.
But, we did start this committee as a whole I think it's this year.
I think
right?
it did a great
And
job.
it worked out good. I mean, we're finding our balance of when the meetings are and the accessibility, but I think that's a good process too.
Yeah, I
It is
agree.
what it is.
And it's-
You
I think
get
it's
to
far
hear
more
about the whole
transparent
company.
for the-
Yeah, it's
for the
very
public, too.
transparent. And we also, those have been webcasts.
Webcasts.
And we're doing that. I mean,
Amazing.
there's just been a lot of good things happening, but you really do learn that way too. And we all are learning, I think, every meeting. So sometimes we joke, but I think those are important because you do gather little things
Yeah,
and
it's
you
much
get
better.
everybody's expertise on issues that, I never thought of that. So I think it's working well.
Yep.
So I really like that format.
And especially with the strategic directives now, that we're bringing them out to review them and everything. You did a very good job in working through that process, and I want to thank Scott Foch
Yeah,
for
Scott.
that, helping us, leading us through that. And, it shows we are not a rubber stamp board
No.
anymore. We just keep on going and working different, we have different viewpoints and everything, but through the strategic directives, I think it's done a good job.
Yeah, I agree.
I learned at this meeting it's okay to vote against Tim Burke's salary.
Yeah, well, immediately when
We're
I
not
said
a
that,
rubber
I
stamp
regretted
board.
that, so I apologize.
That was my takeaway
Yeah.
from this meeting, so.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? All right. We do have, now is the time though. Is there any public comments? Come on, step on up and be heard.
John Pollock, 1412 North 35th Street, Omaha. Starting off with the weather, about another week of Arctic cold. We're getting one shot today. We get a little bit of a reinforcement to that. Tomorrow night, one or two light snow events, nothing serious. Over the weekend, we have a pause on Sunday, and then another Arctic surge comes in early next week. So I think Tuesday morning will be nearly as cold, but not as cold as we had over New Year's. After that, another major pattern change. We get into a milder period where we get more of a flow from the west rather than the north. However, that also puts us in somewhat more of a storm track. So temperatures won't be as cold, but we'll have a better chance of winter storms instead of just cold blasts. And then no telling after that. That goes out about another week. One more item, and this is something that I wish I could give the board members more specific information, but the individual who was directly involved was not somebody I could talk with, so you'll take it for what it's worth. And that is that I have a friend who I do trust who helped pay somebody else's electric bill when he was apparently told downstairs in the lobby that he would be shut off in a day or two if he didn't come up with the money immediately. This was late December, when we were well into the last severe cold episode. So as I say, I can't verify it directly. I made an attempt to. So at any rate, if that's actually what occurred, I don't think we should be in this situation. And I think that the people handling the finances should have a clear understanding that you don't do that in a period where there isn't an actual danger where somebody's going to have their power shut off in a day or
30
two, a
seconds.
little before
Yeah,
Christmas.
we wouldn't, there'd be, certainly our policy during, obviously, these severe weathers, whether it's too hot or very cold, certainly below, 32 degrees, we would not disconnect. We will work with that customer ongoing. So if there is an opportunity for you to have that customer If you could either send that in to Ms. Tracy, we would be more than willing to follow up. I'll have Julie Comstock follow up with them and verify that. If that was truly said, that would be inaccurate, certainly. And I don't think we've done really any disconnections for a period of time here, just because of the nature of the cold. And so we're very sensitive about that, obviously.
Okay. And we also
But
have a holiday.
Thank you for bringing that up.
You have a holiday,
you
you have
for the
moratorium over the
clarification.
holidays too.
We do have a moratorium holiday policy, and certainly we're very sensitive about that.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thanks, John.
Make sure that gets turned in.
Thanks, John.
Laverne Train, 49th in Chicago. So things I want you to know. Iowa State University, engineers win energy development grants to help develop a renewable resilient power grid. They're nearby, you can contribute your own solar experiences to their studies and get back and forth. I also want you to know about the USDA Electric Infrastructure Loan Guarantee Program. It now includes you. The electric program streamlining, of course. And then, of course, the Midwest Renewable Energy Fair. I try to bring this to you guys every year. How to grow your solar. And then solar energy versus coal, a comprehensive comparison. You know, which one really stacks up? I think solar wins in this one. Anyway, and then my big concern is the North Omaha coal plant. And if I could have access to these screens, which I can't, even though I'm a stakeholder, you'll see that these are flattened out clouds. So during the cold months, you say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year by really coating that neighborhood with a lot more pollution because it doesn't get to go up and go away. It just goes and because it cools down so quickly. So that really concerns me. And it's all these neighborhoods, you know, I mean, you know what it looks like down 20th Street and across the street over those houses there. And I wish I could have these on the slides. It'd be much easier for me to do. And then this is fascinating. I've never brought this up in the 30 years I've been testifying here. The Power Park, home of the Little Vikings midget football, literally in the shadow of the largest polluting stack we have in the state of Nebraska. So you are still the largest air polluter in the state of Nebraska. It hasn't changed. You've slowed down the shutting down of these plants. Here's your coal pile, and you'll see very clearly the dust flying off of there because it was a very windy day. Now, I know you do groundwater tests to make sure that site's safe, but have you done surface tests? Has that soil been removed by the lead people when the federal government came in? Did they come in and test your ground to see the lead contamination? Did they remove it? These are things I would hope you'd be concerned about, the board members and the rest of you guys, over the next year. Also, the coal ash piles that you guys just got done tolling that you fixed up and you made the drain go into a nice pond, and you've done some really good work on that. Where was it going the last 50 years before this fall when you fixed it up? That would be something I would want to ask and be concerned about. Like, where's that runoff been going, and is there some environmental mitigation that you might be responsible for on surface? I know you do a lot of groundwater testing, but I'm really concerned about the surface. So anyway, those are my concerns, and here's some wonderful information. I know you have the team in place today to transform this utility quicker than you currently have planned. I think you can shut down those coal plants faster than you have scheduled, and I think you could save money doing it, as every single one of your projects so far has demonstrated as you've been converting over to a more renewable energy factor. Speed of the nuclear power plant saved you money. Speed of these coal plants shutting down will save you money. All of these things, I believe. Your bond guy, having a good time. I mean, all the excess money that's laying around, the 50% loan thing, you know, you guys got really good loan. You got tons of cash on hand. I mean, you're nearly a miracle machine. That's why I just want to point that out. So the extra cash, please move forward in shutting down those coal plants, okay? Thanks.
Thanks for your comments, Laverne. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else?
I would just say this real quick in response to that. From an environmental perspective, we not only do groundwater source testing, we do surface testing, we do air testing on site, obviously in the region. We work very closely with the counties and the state to make sure that all of that is appropriate and is well below the standards that have been set for us. So I will let you know we're committed to that. And from a coal ash perspective, you know, when we replace or we redo an area, it's not that the waste was going someplace it was not supposed to go. It means we're trying to maintain our ongoing commitment for environmental compliance and to make sure that that site is appropriate. So that waste was also going into a coal ash dry pond that we have on site there, and it's just the ongoing repair of that and making sure it's adhering to the standards that we've not only set for ourselves, but it meets all the standards at the state and federal level.
Tim, I have one quick question. Is there any time frame or any, what keeps North Omaha open? Is there a need for that energy produced?
I would say yes, there is. From one, we're required to have the capacity capability within our requirements of being part of SPP. And so those units obviously are pretty important for us with the closure of Fort Calhoun and taking away about 500 megawatts of capacity. That capacity is pretty critical at this point in time. Obviously, we've talked historically and we'll continue to talk in the future about what the long-term plan may look like. But right now, it's very critical in the marketplace. And as I said before, both of those units were 4 and 5 certainly were operating over the course of the very severe weather that we had and the peak prices and the peak requirements in that area. Units 1, 2, and 3 typically we only use as a peaking units, so we'll only use those typically during the hottest day of the year, which we did in 2017. We operated those plants, I would say, several days over the course of some of the hot weather that we had, and they're called on based on that peak demand requirement. So we have to maintain a certain capacity level. Those plants in there are still required until we look at other capacity options in the future.
And 4 and 5 are the coal generators?
That is correct.
1, 2, and 3 are natural gas?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. With that, I don't see anyone else has any comments. We're adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks.
That's part of the week, right? Whenever you want to do that flight of fancy, let me know, because I know a couple people that I would organize a lunch to talk about it.
Nice.